Tell them boys to tighten up, tighten up.
Let me hear you say it.
Oh shit again, hype now. Tell them boys to tighten up, tighten up.
Let me hear you say it.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Cass here. We are here to go through every game of the Tennessee Titans 2022 schedule, where we will mark wins and losses and finally determine what I think the Tennessee Titans will do this season in 2022. So, we're going to start off first with the season opener, September 11th, 2022, at NISSAN Stadium. We have a 3:25 Central Time start, and I think, given how things went, we have a really good defense. New York has struggled to put up a good offensive line over the years. Even though it's slowly getting better, I'm going to mark that as a W for the Tennessee Titans. So, the next week is this week, and that being week 2 in HIGHMARK Stadium against the Buffalo Bills, with Buffalo having a very good team. Tennessee has, though, seemed to have the edge over Buffalo over the years. This is a primetime game, 6:15 start, Monday Night Football, which is why Tennessee has proven over the years to have the edge over Buffalo. Buffalo has struggled to beat Tennessee in the past. I'm going to give this to Tennessee because even though Buffalo has struggled to beat them in the past, when we had A.J. Brown never really did very good in these games. So we were usually winning with running the football and playing very good defense. So that's why I'm going to go with a Tennessee Titans win, starting off as 2-0. This next week, we are back in NISSAN Stadium, September 25th, a 12 p.m. start, where we are going to face a very good Oakland Raiders team. A very much improved Oakland Raiders team, a team that was given Davante Adams. Which is why this is going to be the team that we eat our first loss to. With a W going to the Raiders, giving us a 2-1 start through 3 games, and a loss at home to the Oakland Raiders, to the Las Vegas Raiders. Alright, now we're going through, and we are in Week 4 against the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium, October 2nd, 2022, a 12 p.m. start. As of the 9th of July, the Indianapolis Colts have not signed another receiver, which gives Michael Pittman as their number 1 guy. So, as much as Michael Pittman may be a very good receiver, Tennessee has extremely added to their secondary. Jonathan Taylor is going to be the main point of this game. And seeing him versus Derrick is going to be a main focus in this game. But what I think is going to play the dividends is I think that Tennessee has a much better defensive front, which is why Tennessee is going to win this game and give Tennessee a 3-1 start. Alright, here we are, Week 5, October 9th, 2022. 12 p.m. start, where we will be going to FEDEX Field to face the Washington Commanders. Commanders have got better. They have Carson Wentz, who we are historically very good against, which is why I'm going to give us a victory here, giving us a 4-1 start through our first 5 games, and giving us a 4-1 start going into our bye week. So, going into our bye week, what I really think is going to be a main focus here is understanding that you have a long season left. You have 11 games left from your bye week. We have a very early bye week in the NFL. I think the earliest you can get is week 6, which is going to be very important for Tennessee to maintain player health through the last 11 game stretch. And it's going to be not only a need, it's going to be much of a necessity to either win enough games where you could set players towards the end of the season, or win enough games where you could try to get that number 1 seed. Because you can't ask players to play 16 straight with no bye week. Players are going to get hurt that way. So this team has to win enough games. If they're going to want to make a deep playoff run, if they're going to want to make a deep playoff run with the quarterback they have, with Ryan Tannehill, one of the biggest problems with Ryan last year is he didn't have his players on the field. He didn't have the people he had built chemistry with on the field a majority of the time. So, you have to fix that postseason. Because if you don't fix that in the postseason, then you're going to just have a repeat of what happened last year. A team with no chemistry going on to the playoffs and just losing again. So Tennessee needs to find a way to win enough games to be able to either sit players or win enough games to get that first round bye again. So we are back into week 7 after our week 6 bye week. Facing again the Indianapolis Colts. This time at home with a 12 p.m. start. And this is probably going to be what gets me the most hate in this video. I'm having us sweeping the Indianapolis Colts. I think they have got significantly worse. They let certain players that they shouldn't have let walk. They let certain players that they really should have prioritized going to get in free agency not come to their squad. I think Indianapolis has significantly got worse. I think Tennessee hasn't gotten better, but they haven't gotten significantly worse either. The receiving is an issue, but when you draft a guy like Treylon Burks and you have a lot of young players receiving-wise on your team that can complement, we're acting like AJ ever went over 1,100 yards. He is a once-in-a-generation talent, but he did not put that talent on the field for us. He had really good games. The game against San Francisco was a takeover game for A.J. Brown, but he never went over 1,100 yards for us. He was a really good receiver talent-wise, but could not put it together on the field, whether it be injuries in the 2021 campaign or whatever it be. He wasn't able to put statistics up of a top 10 receiver. He had really good seasons. Even last year, he only had 800 yards. I think you can get a guy, or you can get a bunch of guys that could do that. So, which is why I'm okay with saying Indianapolis gets swept again, because I think they have significantly gotten worse. So, as we have a, what would that be, 5-1 record going into week 8? 5-1, yeah? Yeah. We have a 5-1 record going into week 8. I'm actually going to have us win this game again. So we're going to be 6-1. I understand what y'all are all saying. The losses are going to stack up in a few minutes. We have a 5-1 record going into this game. 6-1 after this game against Houston in NRG Stadium. We have played significantly well in NRG Stadium in the past. We haven't played against Houston very well at home. But we have played very well against Houston in their house. So which is why I'm giving us a win here. And we're going to talk more about Houston in Nashville in a minute. I got asked questions all year of what I think Tennessee Titans' number 1 game to watch this season will be to determine how good this team is. If you want to ask me how good I think Tennessee could be, you're going to have to watch this game in Arrowhead November 6th against the Kansas City Chiefs. If Tennessee can walk into Arrowhead and secure a victory against Patrick Mahomes, no matter what, until you beat Patrick Mahomes, until you can significantly show that you're the better team than the Kansas City Chiefs, you're not the best team in the AFC, because he's the best team in the AFC. They've proved it year after year. If you can walk into Arrowhead, one of the hardest stadiums to play in the entire NFL, on prime time, 7:20 p.m. start time, if you can walk in and beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you no doubt will be able to say that you are the best team in the AFC at this point. Tennessee would be 7-1 through my recollection walking into this game. Kansas City is going to put it on them. And if Tennessee can't be able to stop what Kansas City is going to try to do, I don't want to hear that Patrick Mahomes was made by Tyreek. No, Tyreek with a 6th-round draft pick out of West Alabama. Patrick Mahomes has one of the strongest arm talents we've ever seen in a quarterback that can do things we've never been able to see before. Patrick Mahomes can do it with anybody. And not only that, they went out and got Sky Moore, who is a speed freak. Kansas City is going to be fine. It's all about how Tennessee recaps that and can they beat them. If they can beat them, Tennessee could finish with 13-14 wins. No problem if they win this game here. But if they don't, I could see 10, 11, 12. But Kansas City, I have them getting a win here, knocking Tennessee down to 7-2. So, going in, we're 6-2 as of this. I have the Broncos putting it on us. I was losing 2 straight to AFC West opponents. And that's being that I feel like this team does not succeed well under high expectations. If Tennessee starts off 6-1, that loss to Arrowhead is going to hurt them extremely. Because Kansas City is going to be the other best team in the AFC at that point. Tennessee, if they win that game, they win this game. Because this gives them so much of momentum riding off the Kansas City game into the Denver game. A loss kills the momentum that they have had all season. I'm saying with a loss to Kansas City, Denver gets the win here, knocking Tennessee to 6-3 on the year. But y'all may be asking, where do we get our mojo back at? It's this game right here. Tennessee feeds off a failure. In 2019, Tennessee was one of the hottest teams in the entire league off the back of a career resurgence by Ryan Tannehill. But they walked into Lambeau Field in the snow and got smacked by the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. They're going to remember that. And they're going to remember this game in Lambeau. And Tennessee is going to get a win that marks a 7-3 record so far for the Tennessee Titans through 11 games. This is a game I believe Titans players have marked on their schedule. Because Tennessee was embarrassed by the Cincinnati Bengals last year in the divisional round. Do I think Tennessee has the cornerbacks to compete with the receivers that Cincinnati does? I do. I don't think Cincinnati has a better offense than we have defense. Cincinnati's defense is better than our offense. I'll give them that. This is going to be a very good game. This is on par with the Kansas City game for most important game on the schedule. I have Tennessee winning this one. That's the only thing. I have Tennessee winning this one. That would mark, I believe, a 8-3 record. Which is important for how we're going to end up going into the playoffs through week 12. I've seen people putting a lot of stock into this game as an important game on the Titans schedule. I don't see that. I don't see Philadelphia as a team we should really be worried about defensively. Philly has a really good offense. They have Jalen Hurts, who is an explosive playmaker with his feet. Has some stuff to learn about the pass game. Has some stuff he needs to work on with the pass game. Has not proved in the NFL that he is a significant passer yet. Has explosive playmakers on the outside with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Doesn't really have a running game. Miles Sanders has been decent enough for Philly. Their defense is where I think we really have an edge over them. I think this game is a shootout. And that's what I think Philly would love it to be. I know I might get some real flack for this one. I'm going to give the win to Philly. Because I think their offense is going to be able to score points. Whether it's not through the air, because I think they're still going to run the ball significantly, even with A.J. and Devontae Smith. It's about the fact that they are built to run the football. They have a running quarterback, a run-first quarterback, Miles Sanders, a really good veteran offensive line. They're going to run the ball. They're just going to, when you stop that, they're going to be able to throw the ball as well. Philly's going to win this game, which gives a, I believe, 9-4 record. No, 8-4 record for Tennessee. Yeah, 8-4. Jacksonville has done a lot to improve throughout the season. I'm going to go ahead and put this down, and then I'm going to explain my reason. Tennessee has a better team than Jacksonville. Jacksonville still has some things they need to work out defensively, offensively, and through the quarterback, and have a first-year head coach. Jacksonville is going to be able to make these games close. I have Tennessee winning both of these games. But I really do think that Jacksonville's going to be able to make these games close. So that's going to be 9-4. But Jacksonville is going to be a team I would watch out for in the future to come if I'm the Tennessee Titans. They're a team that's going to be able to significantly run the ball with both James Robinson and have Travis Etienne out of the backfield as more of a secure passing back. And give Trevor Lawrence some time to develop. You have a really good team. I just think they need time. We want to talk about how good the Chargers have got, the Los Angeles Chargers. They have. It's not a question to make. I think the Chargers are one of the best teams in the AFC. And I think this proves that statement. A 9-4 record with Tennessee would mark them to 9-5. It's just the fact of I don't see a point where our offense can put up points on that pass rush. Our offensive line has suffered some real hits through losing Roger Saffold and the tremendous just failures that were Isaiah Wilson. We don't know how good Dylan Redunz is going to be able to play for right tackle, so he's going to have to guard either Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack, and that's just going to be a struggle for a first-year outside tackle. So I'm giving this one to the Chargers. That'll be 9-5. With 9-6 being the record going into Week 16, I have us beating the Houston Texans. The reason I have us beating Houston is I think they still have a lot to do. So that's going to be, I believe, 10-6. Yes, 10-6 for the Titans. Houston is a team that is going to get better. This whole AFC South is going to get better. A lot of young players are in this division that are top-tier players in the league that are going to come into it. And I personally think Davis Mills is the Texans' answer for quarterback. I think he proved that last season, putting up a really good stat line with a team that did not have a good team. So, Tennessee wins this one. That'll put them at 10-6 going in to their Week 17 contest. So, a 10-6 record is what the Titans have secured so far. I told y'all earlier, I'm giving Tennessee the win here. That's 11-6 for the Titans so far through the end of the season. So 11-6. Tennessee's going to really struggle, though, within the playoffs as far as player health is concerned. I think Jacksonville, Houston, and Indianapolis are very good teams. I have to personally see how Matt Ryan plays with the Colts before I can say that they can be a top-tier contender in this division. This is a really good division. This is going to be a really good division in years to come as well. I really think people are underestimating how competitive some of these teams are going to be. Houston has drafted really well. Nico Collins is a very good receiver. He has the intelligibles to be a very good receiver. We've just got to see how some of these younger players play out, especially Jacksonville's. And even Indianapolis is to a point. Indianapolis just doesn't have the strength on offense to hang with some of the teams they're going to play this season. But 11-6. Now, let's get into the players that I think are going to be key contributors for this Tennessee Titans 2022 to 2023 campaign. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, as you just saw the 2022 season predictions, I kind of made some mistakes in there. I believe the final record was 10-7. So, in the 2022 season, I have 6 players to watch, 3 defensively, 3 offensively, and those players are as follows. That starts off with 4th round running back Hassan Haskins. Also, we have free agency tight end Austin Hooper, and we have third-year wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Akina, who I think is going to need to take a huge step with the loss of certain players, that being different guys that we would use, Cam Batson, Marcus Johnson, guys like Chester Rogers, guys like A.J. Brown, guys that are no longer on the team. He's going to need to take a big step forward for this football team. Defensively, I think, are a lot more players you would know. That being Sticky McCurry, inside linebacker David Long, and Rashad Weaver. I think, and this might be a big overstatement, I think there's a possibility if he plays every game, David Long could lead the league in tackles. I think it's not hard to say that because of how good he showed in such a limited production. We're going to have to see. This is his first full year as a starter. Rashad Weaver's finally getting the start after coming back from a broken femur. And we have Sticky Roger McCurry, who's going to get playing time in the secondary. Anyway, guys, took me a long time to decide on these different logos and stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been your boy Cass. I'm out. I will be live with another video very soon. And above all else, remember to tighten up.
Tell them boys to tighten up, tighten up.
Let me hear you say it.
Ho, sit again, hype now. Tell them boys to tighten up, tighten up.
Let me hear you say it.
NISSAN.